Welcome to Quadratic Regression. In this interactive lesson, you're going to record and track the path of the sun over a period of 24 hours. And to do that, you're going to use a database that measures the altitude of the sun at given times of the day. So first thing you're going to do after you watch this video is click that link that says Sun Altitude Database. After you click that link, it'll bring you to this page, which defaults to Chicago, Illinois. So what we're going to do is we're going to search any city. Do not search Farmville or Greenville because I use those in my examples, and I want you to just choose any city that you like in the United States. So to find your city, you're going to search right here. It'll pull up any city that you want. So when I type in Farmville, it brings up all the Farmvilles of all the states in the United States. And I click the one for North Carolina. So you get to pick any state that you want. Then you're going to scroll down. So if I click Farmville and I want to look at the altitude of the sun at different times of the day for any given day, I can scroll down and see today's sun position in Farmville. So this is the graph that you're going to be using to do this activity. So notice that as I put my mouse here, it tells me the time of day and it tells me the altitude of the sun. Those are your two variables. You're going to use X as the time of day and Y as the altitude. So you need to make a list of 24 hours. So you can start with whatever hour you want. You can pick any day and time that you want. So when I did my example, what I did was I just started at 12 a.m. and that was time 0. 1 a.m. was 1 hour, 2 a.m. was 2 hours, and so on. So notice when I get to 12 o'clock, then I don't go back to 1 o'clock. I'm actually going to write 13 because that's the 13th hour. Then 14 would be 2 o'clock, 15 would be 3 o'clock, and so on. So you're going to list all 24 hours of the day. Your X's should be 0 through 23. After you have that list, you're going to go to Desmos, and we're going to put your table, your X and Y values, into Desmos, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Once you're in Desmos, notice that you're going to be in the Desmos NC Test version. I am in a free version of Desmos that allows me to save my graphs, and I did that on purpose so that I didn't have to retype all of these for this video. So in Desmos, what you can do is you can put in your table of values by clicking the plus button, and you'll see table as an option. So you'll click table, and then it will fill up this table that says X1 and Y1. So then you can type in your X values, you can type in your Y values. Notice that I have the X values 0 through 23. That's because 12 a.m., 0 hours have passed, and at 23, that would be the 24th hour, okay? So in Desmos, after you have your table, what we want to do is look at this graph. So notice you can't see anything on my graph right now. That's because my window is too small. So you can use the minus button, the plus button to zoom in or out, or you can pinch your trackpad with 2 fingers, and then you can click and drag so that you can move the axis wherever you want to. Right, so I'm going to zoom out so I can see all my points. Look how quadratic that looks. That is crazy. So this is the path of the sun, the altitude of the sun over different hours of the day. Now what we want is a quadratic equation to fit this model, this graph. So what I want to do is I want to find y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. But notice that doesn't give me my equation. That's because Desmos doesn't understand what I want here. Desmos just sees this as a parent function. So what we want to tell Desmos is based on these x1 values and these y1 values, we want the equation that best fits this graph, even if it doesn't go through every single point perfectly. That process of telling a calculator to do that for us is called regression. In this case, it's quadratic regression because we're doing this with a quadratic model. So instead of typing it like this, what I want to tell Desmos is from my list of y1s and my list of x1s, I want the equation that best fits those points. So it's not equal to because it's not exactly going to go through all of those points, but it is very similar to it. So instead of the equal sign, we're going to pull up our keyboard and go to ABC and then click this little squiggly line. That is like similar, which means that it's not exact, but it's close. So now look at all this information that Desmos gives us. It gives us an R² value, which we haven't talked about yet. It gives us an E1 plot, which you haven't really talked about either. Our main focus is going to be on A, B, and C. So notice that in the equation y equals ax² plus bx plus c, we need to know A, B, and C. And this gives us all three of those values. So if I were to type in y equals, I'm going to round a to 2 decimal places. So I'm going to say negative 0.82. Notice that the 5 rounds the 1 up to a 2. X squared plus bx, so our b is 19.81 x plus c, and my c is negative 93.67. That is my graph. You see how it overlaps? The blue overlaps the green. What I did was I took the A, B, and C that Desmos gave me and I plugged it into our standard form of that quadratic equation. So this is my quadratic equation that fits these specific data points of the path of the sun, the altitude of the sun, over a 24-hour period. Now your next task is to take this information, this graph, and put it into the Google assignment slide. So I want you to take a screenshot of this graph and you're going to put that into this slide. So you'll type your name, type the city and state, and then the day and the month of the year. Then you're going to insert your screenshot here. You'll go up to Insert and then Image, and you'll put your screenshot over top of this one. And in the next slide, all you're going to do is fill out some basic information. I want you to paste your screenshot again right here where this graph is and label your axes. So what does the X values represent? What do the Y values represent? And then I want you to just plug in some of your data points just to give me an idea of what I'm looking at on your graph. So from the list that you made, you're going to type in your Y value for 1. Your Y value for 4, your Y value for 8, and so on. And that's all I need you to do. The last thing is just to plug in your A, B, and C values down here at the bottom so that I can see what your specific equation was for the path of the sun on the day and time of the city that you chose. And that is it.